today, girl?
Whatever you want to tell me.
You want me to tell you about my great grandma and my grandma and grandpa? Be your great grandma and grandpa.
Yeah.
Well, I remember my grandma and grandpas, but I was awful young when they passed away. But I can remember going to Grandma Purry's because we lived next door to them, so we got to go every day to see Grandma and Grandpa. And I can remember us having a big family reunion at Grandma's house. And all the family came. But I was still small when they passed away. I can't remember that much about going and ever staying with Grandma all night or going down and just eating dinner with her. I can't remember none of that. But I can remember my Grandma Camel and Grandpa Camel. I know when we went to Grandma and Grandpa Camel's, we had to go down to the river, and Daddy would have to take us over to Grandma's house in a boat. And there was so many of us kids that he would have to take half of us and then come back and get the other half. Usually he took the little ones first. That would be me and Norman, Judy, and then he'd come back and get the bigger ones and take them across over the river. I can't remember Grandpa too much, but I can remember Grandma because she passed away right before I got married. But just the little memories I have of both sides of the family. Now, who do you want me to talk about?
Tell me about Spoiled Aunt Norma.
Tell you about spoiled Aunt Norma? She was spoilt to death. She never got a spanking like the rest of us because she had asthma, and every time she would get scolded, she would have an asthma attack. So Mom and Daddy never did scold her or never did punish her. She was just a spoilt little girl. But she grew up to be a nice lady, graduated high school, went on and got her degree in nursing. She was an RN. She worked at several different hospitals. And then she went to work for hospice. She worked for hospice for 25 years before she came down with cancer herself. And she had pancreatic cancer, and she lived exactly 3 months before she passed away. She was the youngest in the family and the first one to pass away. But I have a lot of good memories with her of growing up and things we did, traveled together, went yard selling together, went shopping together, went to the beach together. So I have a lot of good memories with her.
What about Judy?
And Judy, I guess I have more memories with Judy than I did with the others because she usually come by every year and would take me wherever they were going. We went to Florida, we went to Disney World, we went to Gracelands, we went to the Grand Ole Opera, we went to Georgia, we went to Stone Mountain. When they had 911, we went up there and they took Trula and Jean and Norma and me and Judy and Charles. We went to Ohio to the Amish, and we come back through and stopped at where the plane crashed in Pennsylvania and got to see all that. We was just always, well, we would go to Judy sometimes 2 and 3 times a year and go yard sales into the Amish and always doing something when you went up there. You was always made at home and they wouldn't let you spend a penny. They took care of everything when you went. And I miss her so much.
What about Trula?
Well, Trula and I was really close because we lived next door, and we've always been close. And she went with me to my crash shows and set up with me. And we would go to the beach the first week of December. We'd have a crash show, and me and her would go down there, and we would stay 7 days. We would stay out in an aunt's trailer. They had one down on the beach, and we would stay there. And then we went to Floyd, Virginia to a crash show. We went to Salem, Virginia to a crash show. Blacksburg. Me and her just traveled everywhere. And we would have the best time. We would stop and we would have our van full. But we would stop and shop like we had all kinds of room. And we wouldn't have a place to stick nothing in that van. So we lived close together, side by side, so we always was close with each other. Blanche lived in Florida. She went to Florida when she graduated from high school, and she never did move back home. She got married in Florida. She had 2 girls. They are still in Florida. But Judy would send her plane money to fly home, and she would fly home, and then me and her would drive from here up to Judy's. But anytime she wanted to come home and stay a while, Judy would send her money and she would come home. But she was never around as much as we was with Norman, Trula, and Judy. But a year and a half to 2 years before she passed away, she flew home, and I had just bought me a new car. And me and her got in the car and drove to Pennsylvania, and we stayed a week with Judy. And we had the best time, and we come back, and we still had a good time, just me and her driving and talking on our way back home and laughing. And then she flew back to Florida, and that was the last I seen of her. She passed away the next year. Well, the boys, Leon, he was always a cut-up. But he was more like Daddy. He wasn't very patient. But I was close to Leon because when he was at home dating his wife, Rada, in order for me to go with them on their date, I had to do his chores. Then he would take me and my girlfriend with him when he'd go to pick up Rada. But I've had several good times with him and Rada. We went to Florida together several times and went to Georgia and spent some time with her people. And I've had some good times with Leon. We was always close. Mama kept us kids close. We never had no arguments. We never had any fights. We was always there for one another. When one needed something, we were all there to help out if we could. Howard was the oldest, and he was always had patience, and he always carried his feelings on his shoulders. If you said anything that hurt his feelings, no matter if he was grown, he would cry. But I spent a lot of time with him before he passed away, and we got awful close. And now his wife and I are really close to one another. And I guess that's an update on all of my brothers and sisters, and they've all left me now, and I'm the only one left out of 7.
What in the world are you doing in the floor, Granny?
Picking up bluebirds and eating them.
Hi, I'm Emma. I'm Granny's great niece from Pennsylvania, and I'm Aunt Judy's granddaughter, and today we're going to be picking strawberries. Is this one fully red? Oh, this one. This one's red.
Okay, this is the Granny Women, and I'm going to give you tips on how to make your jelly. Of course, the blackberries aren't ready yet. This is strawberry that I made, the strawberries that are in right now. But the 3 main tips, the first, make sure the signs are right. Do not make them in the bowels or in the feet. And second, when you make your jelly, if you make it with sure gel, be sure you put the sure gel in first with the berries. Bring it to a good boil, and then when it starts boiling good, pour your sugar in. It usually takes 7 cups of sugar. And you bring it back to a good boil and boil it 1 minute. Then put it in your jars. If you're going to put it in the freezer like I do, I just fill my jars full, cover them up with a clean towel for the next day, and then I put lids on them. They don't have to seal, and put them in the freezer. But if you're going to put them in your, keep them, seal them and keep them, put them in your jars, put your jar seal and your ring on them, and put them in a water bath, and bath them for 5 to 10 minutes, and then bring them out and let them set till they seal. That is 3 tips of making good jelly.
Charlie, Granny's brother-in-law, Judy's husband. I'm trying out some fresh jelly, strawberry jelly that Angel made today, and it is very, very good. It would be a whole lot better on a hot buttered biscuit.